Good afternoon, YouTube Nation. This is Ian from Mastic Shortline. I hope you can hear me okay, because I am using a video camera that was ideal for vlogging and didn't put too much of a dent in my checkbook, but considering how much I paid for it, there's always the issue that you get what you pay for. What you see in front of you is an Athearn SDP40, which I picked up during the pandemic, and I figured I have so many items, I have so many locomotives in my collection that I picked up over the past couple of years. I then thought to myself, what about the existing locomotives in your collection that you've had for at least the past couple of years? They deserve as much attention as the new items that you've picked up. Well, new being new used items, actually. So, what you see here was what you could call a pandemic purchase. And it's in relatively good condition. I'm going to back up a little bit. It's in fairly good condition. It ran barely when I brought it home. The person that I bought this from didn't have a test track, and it didn't respond to the 9-volt battery test. But after a little finagling, I got the thing to run, and it ran perfectly. But it really needs a cleaning. And now that following that time that I did pick that up, I did become slightly more adept at taking locomotives apart, cleaning them, servicing them, and getting them running pretty good. I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick it up, but you may see that there's some. Let me see if I can turn off the light. You will see that there is some dust, and the horn is busted, broken. The frame is slightly bent at the end. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. Doesn't matter to me, really, because the thing can run. So we're here at the test track, and I guess you missed it. I managed to get this thing onto the tracks the first time without having to re-reel it. I'm going to swivel this thing. I'm going to turn on the power. It's in the forward direction. So, I'm going to apply a little power. It's an old tripod. Bear with me, folks. So, with 40% power applied, there's a slight hum. I'm not sure if you could hear the hum. Just going to pause the white noise that's in the background. Yeah. Needs a little love. Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Going to apply a little more power. And she's off to the races. And now we're going to put Now she has woken up slightly, so I'm going to turn down the throttle slightly. And can I get this tripod to cooperate with it? Or am I going to have to take this thing off the mount? Maybe a little WD-40 will loosen it up slightly, but so we're going to put her back in a forward position. And lo and behold, we've noticed that not all the front axle isn't all the way on. There we are. Thought I had it all on the rails. Shall we do this again? Let's. And we are way past 50% power. Now we're going to back her up. Alright, so clearly we need to tear this girl down and give her a proper servicing.
So, right after I shot the introduction to the video, I began tearing the locomotive down to the frame. I removed the shell and the couplers, then I removed and disassembled the gear towers, and then I removed the motor from the mounts. I cleaned the gears, replaced the axle gears because of cracks. I cleaned and lubricated the motor, including the top and bottom clips, the brushes, the commutator, and in between each commutator plate. When I reassembled the locomotive, I replaced the long clip with a wire from each gear tower to the top motor clip. You can't see any of this because either the camera is no good, the memory card is no good, or both. I am so bummed. I'm going to resume the video where I was testing on the layout prior to replacing the shell and couplers.
So, we got ourselves a pretty good runner, and it's running at 30% throttle. This by far is a very solid performance. And this is also part of a 10 to 15 minute run before we put the show back on. I usually wait until after the run test is done before putting the show back on, so that I can find and correct anything that may be hindering its performance, or something is awry. Seems pretty good. But I think I know what I might need to correct. Okay, that's so much better now. Wouldn't you agree? So, with the shell back on, after replacing the headlight with an LED light, I also took the liberty of touching up the handrails and the stanchions to be somewhat more prototypical of the blue sky scheme of the Great Northern locomotives. And just to note that we still have the original horn hook on the cab end, but since I happened to notice that the long hood end had been drilled, had the hole drilled through, I took the liberty of installing a number 5 KD coupler, and you'd see that it's lined up pretty decently. Let's take this girl to the track. Well, this looks pretty good to me. It's not a very long consist, but it's good enough for an initial pull test. When I originally acquired this locomotive, I lashed it up to a couple of, well, more than a couple, a few Athearn Amtrak coaches. Because if you think about it, in Amtrak history, during the Rainbow phase, it didn't matter how the locomotive appeared as long as it was in service for Amtrak. Great Northern also helped pull Amtrak trains. I'm gonna let this run for a little while longer. In the meantime, I want to thank you all for your continued support of this channel. More videos will come as time and my schedule will permit. Maybe I'll get another camera. And thank you so much for stopping by.